Alright, I study mud fossils, and mud fossils are creatures that were preserved in soft tissue, the complete bodies, mostly broken up in pieces due to the agitation, but they are body parts of creatures, and the creatures are enormous, and the enormous comes from the fact of the history in the myths. If you want real true history, read the myths about the giants that were everywhere in the world. Every single culture talks about them, and I'm going to show you right now how gigantic these giants were. These are not trees. They say this is a petrified tree area over in Bulgaria. These are not trees, that is hair, and I'm saying that, and I can show it and prove it. You see the structure of this, these striations? You see that circular, the center of the stalk here is missing, and you see how it corrodes the stalk internally. Now notice that very carefully. Now I'm going to show you what hairs are. Now you saw what the hair, the forest looking things were. This is what a hair is in a microscope. You can see there's the striations identical to what the hair looked like that we saw before. Now this also, whoops, that's a giant human hand that we found, and this literally, we have had this DNA tested. This is a hand 36 inches wide, and this right here, if you take your own hand and put it out in front of you and move it like this, you're going to see that you have the same tendon structure and the same padding, which is this right here. There's the tendon that runs down. That's where the thumb runs off. And we do have the thumb, and we have some of the fingers, and more has been found since this. But that's a whole different issue. Let's get back to the hair. But there's giants everywhere. Now, this is the hair that they found in the ground. And they, you know, there's a bunch of these. And there's the stalk right here, and here's the articulations of it. This right here is the blood vessels that in turn comes in, and this is the one leading back out. And I'll show you the anatomical of hairs in a second. Okay, look on the left here. You see right here? There's the hair. There's the stalk of the hair, and there's the blood supplies at the bottom. You see the red one here? That's the arterial side, and this, where the blue comes out, that's the vein. And after it uses the blood to do its job, it comes back out and has to get repumped up. Now, what else is going to be around these hairs? Well, there's going to be, first of all, look at this. This is the center of the hair, and we notice how the stalk eroded in that particular same sort of style. Now, so we see the hair, we see the stalk, we see the blood supplies, we saw the striations, and near these would be sweat glands. That's how your body is made, and I'm going to show you the anatomy of that. Alright, this is the skin. There's your hair. We know all about this. And there's the squiggly little sweat gland. Now, these are the sweat glands that they find in the ground. And that's just the nature of the way skin is. You have these sweat glands, and then you have the hairs. So they've been found, and it's not a question of that they're not there. It's a question of what were these things until we discovered that that's what they are, sweat glands and hairs. Now, giants were, you know, huge, absolutely enormous, literally miles tall. And they were killed off in the flood, and the evidence is quite apparent. And I have a lot of videos relating to this. This is, I think, the 8th one in the series. And there's a lot more to come, actually. Now, I have the CAT scans and DNA report. Here's a DNA report of my giants. And the only guy in the country would do this was Helix Biolabs, because it involved giants. And they destroy him for his work because he's an honest, open scientist. Did a magnificent job. Textbook, fabulous job. And after he extracted extracted the DNA with all these primers and so forth, he sent that off where they sequenced it in Eaton Biolabs in New Jersey, and then they came out with the results, and the results are that everything here is human DNA, and it's mitochondrial Well, here it is: Homo sapien mitochondrial cytochrome B genes, and Homo sapien mitochondrial D loop region, and they were all three of them had the same identical 100% human DNA. So it's not something that I'm making up. There's no, and I have CAT scans of these stuff. The CAT scans are in here, and the CAT scans show. Well, here's this. It's a left thumb, and I have the palm and all other business that goes with this, other fingers. There's a nail bed, and when it goes into the, as you go into the rest, there's what a nail bed says, and there's the pads of the underneath. If you took your own left thumb and looked at all these pads, and here's all the articulation of the blood supply that's coming around it, and the bone patterns are inside, and it's very, very sophisticated. And here's the hand in its entirety. Well, there's more of it we found since, but this is the structure of the palm and so forth. Anyway, I have all of this evidence, and it won't be examined by science because they're embarrassed. And this is and there's not, and I've recreated the feldspar in the lab, and I expect somebody to look at this, and Yale refuses to look at it, Harvard refuses to look at it, Yale, Johns Hopkins, University of Texas, they won't communicate with me at all. So I have this stuff. All I need to do is have somebody do a scientific review of this. That's all. And I've offered to bring the stuff, do whatever they want done, and not a single one will even respond to me. So it's a denial of knowledge in my view, and I think something should be done about it, and I'm hoping somebody will, because I have no power. So that's all I have to say.